You ready?
Okay, we're unmuted.
All right. Meeting shall come to order, February 15th at 6:30 p.m. Everyone in the audience, please silence your phones. And everybody should have signed in. Thank you, and we're gonna stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, tonight we have two appeals to hear and decide whether to grant or deny the request for a variance based on the established living laws.
Do we have to clarify that, KP, his term ended? Just for public record, his term ended, and, they're still working on that?
We did that in minutes, we did it in minutes last.
Right, but it's still not filled, so if anybody wonders why there's only 4 of us.
Yeah. All right, we have it. Yep. All right, the board will hear each appeal separately. We will hear from each applicant. There will be a time we hear from the public on variance that will make their decisions afterwards. First, we have board members review the minutes from the last meeting. Any issues with the vote minutes from
No
last?
comments, I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, approved. The minutes are approved as written. Thank you. The legal notice for tonight's agenda has been published to notify the general public of this meeting. May I make a motion to waive the reading of this publication? All in favor?
I'll make a motion. Second.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All in favor? Motion passes. At this time, I request a motion to open the public hearing on the first item on the agenda. Make a motion to open the first item on the agenda, which is the property at 6785 Manoa Bridgeport Road.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing. Second.
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, this is for Mr. Richard Woodbridge. Will you please come forward?
Yep.
And tell us what you'd like to do and why you need variance.
I'm putting a shed in my yard, 14 by 30 in the front. And to my understanding, I need a variance. I get like a 1 foot more to the line from the variance from the front part of the property to the road.
All right. And what's the shed being used for?
Storage room's probably boat in it. So I got a fishing boat, about 16.5 foot that I like to keep inside and don't have room in my car at the moment.
All right. All right. Warren, you have any questions? Claire?
No.
Shed's being built by Salt City Shed, so I'm not building it myself. It's just gonna be dropped off.
Is it gonna match the house?
It is, yep. House is white vinyl siding now. This will be white, painted white doors matching.
All right. Warren, you want my there?
I did. Was the gravel there all along, or was it put down for this purpose?
And they're all long. I use it as a turnaround right now. I extended it probably another foot or so, you know, like in the last year or two, just to give myself a little extra room to park the building.
You have a 2-car garage. Is there a door in the back of those garage?
There's a door in between the breezeway, between the garage and the house.
The back of the garage, is there
Yeah.
a door on the
No.
back of the garage?
No.
No.
Nope, solid.
So you need a 23-foot variance, right?
Yes.
Because the standard required is 40
Oh, we
off
put
the
out
road,
the
so you need 23 feet because you're gonna be back 17 foot off the road. Is there a requirement, for right of way? Because that's the way the road is.
Well,
17 foot back, it should be enough as far as,
the right of way is the right of way, right?
but like for line of sight, sorry, not right of way.
There's
Where that front side of that garage is gonna be is there's a big oak tree right there that's been there,
Right.
I imagine forever. It's,
When I went by there, there was one house on the very corner that had a shed. And there's something there now, correct? Where the shed on that gravel there?
No,
No.
just a turnaround, just a gravel
Just a
turnaround.
huge tree.
Yeah, just a huge tree right at the back side of that, right?
So,
Yeah, the next door neighbor has a small shed. I think they're all 10 by 10 or so, all standard sheds.
there is, do I read that now? There is a neighbor, we received an email. I'm gonna read the, neighbor, Carrie first, it's from, do I list who it's from? From Bernard Wheeler. Carrie, first, I want to thank you for taking the time to discuss this variance with me. You made it very helpful. Originally, I was concerned that the location of the shed would obstruct the sight lines of traffic coming down the road and pulling out of the driveway. After looking at the presented paperwork, if I am looking at these correctly, my mind is at ease, it should not be affected. Putting the side of the shed in the front yard is not consistent with other properties in the area. He is asking for a large variance, 40 to 17. The zone variant ordinance was put in place for citizens' benefits. If this variance goes through, we would set a precedent on future decisions being made on front yard setbacks. Thank you for letting me share my thoughts on something, especially Yvonne Wheeler signed it, but it's from Bernard Zena. All right, so that's for the record. I think the concern of the line of sight, right? If you're pulling out, of other cars, that could be an issue.
It's not though. She recognizes it's not, right? Like I said, there's a big fat tree there. So if there's a line of sight issue, the tree should be taken down.
Yeah. And then the other thing she said was the not consistent with other properties in the area.
I would ultimately put the shed in the backyard, but I can't get access to the backyard because of the easements from both sides. So I'd have to knock a tree down on the left side of the property to try to put it down the left side of the property around the back. And then because of the kind of the flooding in the back property area out into that field area, I don't have a choice there as well. So my only choice and why I submitted for a variance was the spot that I'm asking for.
Right.
If I can do anything. I can't put it closer to the house, the septic comes off the front of the house, right? So I've got to keep, leach field clear as far as where that is.
What would prevent you from putting it back as far as the setback requires?
It'd be next to my house. It'd be over my top of my leach field, my septic tank.
So is that in the middle of the front yard currently? Do you have a survey that shows that now?
It doesn't show the septic vent cap,
But it's right where his cursor is, right?
it's where, this is the,
Well, that's where I'm gonna put it.
Bring that down a little bit.
Not the other one.
Yeah, my back cap's right there. Septic's right here. Part of the leach field comes up. That big fat tree is right here, right here.
So the leach field goes towards the tree, kind of 45.
The best I know, I just bought that house 3 or 4 years ago, so I don't know exactly where the leach field is. I just know the vent cap's there, the top of the septic's there. I was thinking about trying to get it over this, but I would need an easement off the side property as well. I have to put in a driveway on that side over the top of the ditch, which requires a whole different type of discussion. So I've considered other places, but I can't put it close to the house to the lady's point there because of the septic.
How much extra room do you have on that pad? Are you able to go back a couple feet? Like right to the edge of that pad?
Yes. I planned it to be centered, but I can go right back to the edge. So you gain probably 2 feet at most.
Then you're a little bit less of
Of the variance, but I the impact of the street, the neighbors, there's no other really, but anybody that has a front yard shed in that area. That's.
No, because everybody there has got more than an acre worth of land, so I mean, you got other options to do things.
The only one where there's a shed in the front yard is the one over on, what's that? Not Mary Carroll, but, you know what I'm talking about, right over there that we did
we issued a
So that was-
variance for it.
that was a corner lot.
Yeah.
Further, yeah.
It was technically a front yard.
Yeah, you have there's really 5 houses in a row there, right? You got me, you got Mark, you got the Wheelers down the street there, right? You've got like 5 of us houses, 2 of those or 3 of those were farmhouses, right? So like, they've got more than enough property. Mark's kind of like me, he's trapped on both sides as far as an easement or what. He's got a longer
Yeah, 'cause your
center
house is pretty much
in the center of the property, yeah.
and right to the edge of, on one side.
Right to the, yeah, right against Mark's property.
And that tree doesn't give you much option either,
Doesn't help.
but the tree does provide cover for the shed.
Yeah, it's not like the shed's sticking out there all by itself. It's got that big fat tree. It's covered and kind of obscured by it.
It would have a hard surface where
Yeah.
would be gravel inside the shed, or would be gravel inside the shed.
Oh, no, it's a complete package shed. So it would come with 4x4s and a complete, completely enclosed. What's that?
Is it wooden floor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely, yeah. So 3/4 plywood, right? I mean, I could park
But it would
it,
go on the current bed that's there.
right.
But on your application, you call it a pre-built shed, but on the diagrams here, it says it's a garage and it's a
Yeah,
barn.
because they don't give a good, I just kind of gave a representation of like what it was gonna look like as far as the dimensions of it. So I just pulled that down and then I submitted actual construction details of materials, bill of materials and that. So it's a visual representation is why. Or that part of it.
To it?
What's that?
Are
Sorry.
you running power?
I am not. No need.
Just for the boat, basically.
Yeah. Oh, I got a motorcycle,
Snowboard.
snowblower.
Stuff, yeah. That we need to use those around.
Thought we were going to tonight, but I don't think so.
My kids are looking, but.
I think all of our kids
What do you store in is it your car that goes into the one with attached garage? Is that-
I've got a Corvette on one side, I park there all the time, and then the other side I use for my, my vehicle. Then I've got a truck that parks in the driveway as well.
What's that? What is that? A camper? Camper, is it?
Yeah, I got a camper, I got a truck camper that's there now. I usually park that up in but that's right in that, park bed in that,
So really the gravel's there, it's been there, and what's preventing you from building the shed closer to the house is because you have a leach field there.
yeah. I mean, I can pull to Timothy's point, I mean, you can pull that shed up. You know, I could probably pull it another, beyond where the gravel ends today, right, the driveway, the question was, like, can you pull it there, probably gain 2 feet? Can I extend that? Can I figure out how far up? Can I pull that shed to pull it another 2 or 3 or 4 feet off the roadway to give a less of an easement? I mean, that could probably be, accommodated. I would just lay down, more gravel to extend that out another 3 or 4 feet and figure out where that leach field ends so that it doesn't intrude it and give a less of an easement there, if that was something that would help.
Yeah, I mean, if you could gain 4 or 5 feet, it's definitely less substantial. It's not as close to the road, so. I was thinking there's one.
Yeah, right now, I mean, just to the point, it's like, I know the measurements are the measurements, but like, I got my camper parked there.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way somebody's gonna hit the camper off the road with the ditch line there, even snow blows and, with the plow coming through and stuff, so.
Next winter, would, the camper still be in the front yard as well as the shed?
I got other property all around. I usually park the camper up to my other property up in Fulton. I just left it there this year because it was convenient and I kind of got behind on things.
Those were a project to move to.
Yeah, truck camper, yeah, you gotta put it in the back of my truck and stuff, so.
You said you have wet ground in the back of your house? 'Cause if I read this correctly, you've got 25 feet going from the back of your house to your property line.
Yeah, from the back, back line.
This shed, if I read this correctly, is 14 feet wide,
Yes,
and you've got 27.2 to locate out your front door to the right. Did you think about putting it instead of horizontal to the road, perpendicular next to the house, or else in the back? Or
Yeah, so-
or a smaller shed?
Well, the smaller shed defeats the purpose of the shed,
I mean, this is,
one. And I've got a shed out back, a 10x10 shed that I use for my lawnmower, and different things, right? So there's already, that's on the survey when I bought the house. When you walk out the back of that, it's got a sliding glass door in the middle of the house, right? Off the dining room area, walks down into a concrete, pad area that's, right. So you're saying like put the shed this way?
no, either that or next to the house going
This way?
perpendicular to the
So
road.
knock down the birch tree that's on the side of the house and put it down the side, because there's a birch tree on the side of the house now. Sits right in the middle of the whole area there. So again, it opens up a whole new, how am I gonna get there? I've gotta build a driveway that comes all the way around, or build a driveway across the ditch line to go all the way back, knock the birch tree down and set a shed back there.
So I'm just thinking in terms of getting a motorcycle, that's easy, to drive it back. Right on the wall.
Motorcycle, no, you can't drive a motorcycle on the lawn. If it rains, you're not driving the 1,600-pound motorcycle around on the lawn. You gotta put gravel. I'm gonna have to put a gravel driveway in there to back a boat back down the side of that house. That's all wetland over there. So, it's good ideas. I know this because I've explored like not coming to ask for an easement if I had any other option to do so. I could put
I mean, on the
I
other
could put it
side.
here. I could drop it here, I'm gonna need an easement off the side, and then I'm gonna have to drop this back 40 foot, which puts it into that birch tree again. So I gotta knock down a birch tree. And then I block my access, my only wide enough access to get a vehicle around back of my house if I need to. I put in an obstruction there.
From a public safety standpoint, if fire has to get back there, it's nice to have that extra spot, right? That 27 feet.
That's a good view of the situation, that street view.
But did you consider building a tandem garage?
When I bought the house, I considered knocking down the garage that was there and building a double deep garage. But it was 55 grand because of the time of COVID and everything else. So it just wasn't cost conducive for the price that I had for it. When I can buy, I'm gonna be buying a shed for 13 grand, to be able to drop down the property. So just being cost conscious as well. It was quite a big project, but I did when I first bought the house.
The Wheelers that wrote that letter, which,
They on that side or this side?
I think they're on this side. I think they're 2 doors down, if I remember right. Not 100% sure.
So
I'm just curious of their perspective.
a car, truck, an RV, and a boat, or a camper and a boat. So if we moved it to the other side of the gravel, and that's where your boat is gonna go, and the camp, well, that'll go back on the.
Yeah, you can see where my boat's parked now would be inside the shed.
Do you dock it during summer?
I
Or you just keep it there?
I put my truck camper in the back of my truck, hook up my boat, and I go all around the Finger Lakes.
So
fishing
essentially
like
your
every
winter
weekend. Yeah, so I use it almost every weekend. I camp 8-9 times, different places around the state parks and stuff, so that's kind of how it functionally works, why I have both of them.
All right. Next up will be,
What I was gonna say is just for comparison purposes, I don't know if you remember, there's a house over towards the end of Kirkland Road where similarly, it's right in front. And I think it's about 30 foot back. He's got variance for that, for height too. But do you remember that? If you go around the bend, like you're almost towards the end of Kirkland, it's like right around the left.
Yeah, I do. I know which one you're talking about. I can pull it up.
I'm just thinking for comparison purposes of But you also have to, as he was saying, you have to take into consideration, if you go back, ideally, you go back 15 feet, then you're in your living room, basically.
Yeah.
And you're on top of the leach field, so you don't want to do that. You've got a hedgerow on one side, basically, that provides cover.
If I can't go 14, I go 12, move it back 2 feet, I go thinner on the building, right? So I gain 4 foot of easement rights there, right? I'm just looking at other ways to shrink the building, make it more accommodating,
Can you say that
less
again?
obtrusive. It's 14 foot wide now, so the way the boat is parked, right? I could go with a 12 foot instead of a 14 foot, so we gain 2 feet of easement space there, right? And then to Timothy's point, you can move
12 feet
14 to 12.
We said if you're,
in width?
you have to,
Yes.
now goes to 12 foot instead of 14. So it's further back, the front of the building will be further back from the road 2 feet. If he goes back 2 feet, he's got.
I'm gaining another 4 foot. I'm just trying to figure out ways, like how much space do we have to gain besides it being 40 foot off the?
23 feet, yes, Henry.
What is a fair easement? I guess that's the question.
Yeah.
What is a fair easement in that area off the road?
I think that the board should probably just go, go through the criterion.
I'm just thinking like, so your boat will be there, if you don't have a shed there, your boat's gonna be parked there anyway during the winter.
It's parked right there where,
Okay,
well, I get it off the property because I decided to park my camper there this year and not my boat. I took my boat up to my other property where I have a shed there and I put it in that one. So it's either vice versa. I don't have room for both of them up there at the other property, so.
all right.
But can the board answer my question? What is a fair easement? If it's 40 foot is a standard easement, what is a fair easement off that road in that area then?
So they can't decide that until they go through the criterion, so there's a criterion that's gonna go through, like, what's the least amount of variance that would be required, but you can't do that till they go through the.
Is that a fixed criteria or is that a?
No, it's a criterion that's set by the state of New York.
I would have thought you guys would have done that by now. That's why I submitted the proposal. That's why you guys were gonna come over and
No, it's a
visit the
public
property.
It's a public meeting, it only gets done at a public meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've all reviewed everything previously, and then we have our public discussion of that. So
Gotcha.
she'll close the public part of this in a few minutes, and then we'll go through those questions, the same as you filled out.
I gotcha. It's like a questionnaire you guys do with like real time, through the situational,
Yeah, and
right?
usually it's because, you come to something like this and you've got, neighbors have said something, or our attorney has an opinion of something, so it changes sometimes the
Sure.
outcome.
No, it has to be
Let's
public.
get in context, yeah.
Well, no, so we did that, so
Yeah,
now.
so now I'm gonna wait.
Check to see if there's.
Is there anybody online? Oh, let's go take her, that's what the next one's. Okay, anybody else, anybody in the audience have anything to say? All right, so I'm gonna wait our motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, so now I will ask 5 criteria questions, so the board can determine, yeah, I got it right here. This one, yeah. So I can determine whether variance requested is a balance, so those 5 questions, you can have a seat if you
Oh, okay.
I will ask the 5 criteria questions so the board can determine whether the variance requested is in balance with or in detriment to health, safety, and welfare of the community. So the first question, whether the benefits sought by applicant can be achieved by a feasible alternative to the variance.
We put a different
It
spot.
could be in different spots, so that'd be a yes.
Okay, well, can we discuss what the different spot would be? Whether
In front of the garage?
To the side. Further back.
But if you put it on the side of the house, you still have to get a variance.
won't be a side yard.
It's out there instead of the front yard.
All right, and then also store the boat somewhere. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the current pad is used for parking anyway, so it's just putting a building on top of where he's parking anyway.
Whether undesirable change can be produced in character of neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you explain why you're saying that?
There's no property like that on the road that has a garage or a shed you're building that size in the front lawn.
I think if I lived on that road, I would not like it at all. So you think it's a detriment to the
It's
neighborhood?
definitely to the neighborhood.
I have one question.
Structure like that in front
To
of
what Tim said. Did I hear you say, take this and put it in front of the garage in the driveway, which has, you did not say that.
No, no, all I was saying was to take where he, so his pad he has now, if he can move it back a couple feet. You're getting further back from the road.
2 feet?
Well, if he went to 12 foot wide, he was saying, so instead of a 14 foot wide building, you go to 12 foot, you gain 2 feet there.
Right.
And then if he has the ability to go back 2 or 3 feet, you could, in essence, go down to about an 18 foot variance versus 23. So you're getting it back further from the road.
Is there any consideration putting this in front of your other garage so that they're all lined up in a row?
In my driveway.
Yeah.
Essentially putting a deep garage there.
Yeah.
And I can't drive through, and I block access to it. I lose one car garage to add another shed in front of it.
Yeah, you're gonna get the second big.
Because then I need a side variance easement from Mark next door because I'm worried on the property there. And I'm still not off 40 feet off the front road
On the side of
of that building.
You want to be 40 feet, you have there?
He know with a 30-foot shed off the front of my garage, I would just say off the top of my head, I'm gonna be probably 20 foot off the front road easement. Even there. Because now you're kind of lengthwise.
Yeah.
I would, so I wouldn't consider that because I'm blocking one garage or putting another shed there. If I lose the use of the garage where I park the other car and, you know.
I'm just asking a question.
No, I got it, I'm just giving you, trying to give you a reasonable, response.
All right.
I guess my question on that, answer, does everyone agree with that, the answer that Claire and Warren had?
I think with the neighbor, with the letter too, I think there is no other property that has a shed like that big that will be on the property.
In the front yard?
Yeah, in the front yard. Yeah.
There's not on, Bridgeport Road, but if you go about 2 miles up the road to Turco Road, there is. There's precedent.
Is there a way to see that?
Can you pull it up?
Yeah, I'm trying to,
And that one was actually a taller one because he parks large, class A one.
Well, I mean, he's doing the there.
Are you,
here's yours, yes,
alright. Well, like you're going, just keep going up Turco Road. That way, yep, keep going.
Was there variance given for that?
Keep going, you're gonna go past Chef's Corner, so keep going.
Oh,
You're gonna go past,
It's probably on there.
yeah, keep going. Keep going,
yeah, I mean, it's still, it's in
keep
that.
going. You're going up around the bend, so you're
So you're
still
going
got
to
about
talking about like you go here to.
right,
To the village versus down here.
no, keep going. Go around the bend, you're still. Yep.
What road is Kirkville?
This is Kirkville Road, so right, keep going, it's right up here. That one's in the front. That's the one that we did, was the motorhome one, but it was again because it was in the front yard, and this one was already purchased, you're in front of it.
That's a long way away.
Can you pull that up?
If I try to put it on the left side, so you're looking at the property in my house from the street. From the street, yeah. And you're looking at the left side of the property, like Tim was suggesting, up that side of the property.
Right.
Right. So that's giving something like, what would be, is it like, would be my allowed easement on that side? If I did put it in that, so it's out of the way, we could get it maybe 25 foot out, put it along the way to your point, right?
Yeah.
But it was, it probably would have 5 miles to the side property line, or
Or you get
the
a
bar
variance on the side.
What's that?
You get a variance for the side.
Right, but I'm more likely to get a variance to the side than to be closer to the road, you're saying, right?
It looks like,
He has a tree, that's huge.
Tom, can you pan that to the left? Yeah. Can you go down the
Oh, this is
street?
the other guys.
That was the other one. Yeah, this was the,
Oh, sorry.
I can go
I'm
to.
sorry, just.
Or you know what I'm saying, I'm just trying to figure out whether there's even enough room on that side to consider that as an option to help.
Well, that,
Help you guys your
if
decision.
it was next to the house, going further to the road, you need a side variance. And I think I saw a row of hedges there
There is,
between the property.
there is, there's a big hedge road there.
That would,
So there's no visual, obstruction in the neighborhood.
that would, that would help, so.
Okay. So then I would just figure how much I have to give myself a little room so I can get around that side, so like to Tim's point, that I wouldn't cause a fire variance problem, right? That, hey, you couldn't get around the back of the house or something, I heard.
Well, there's nothing in back of the house except for your shed. They gotta get to it.
You have to go to the seaside of the house.
I
Yeah, we're talking
also,
about the left side of the house at that.
even if you did the side, if you did the side, it's more accessible to that instead of just a front yard shed. And so it'd be more, it wouldn't be as detrimental to the change of the neighborhood if you did have it to the side versus the front. I mean, it's just the issue of having it in the front yard is what I'm questioning a little bit, and I get it, where you have a boat there and you're storing there.
I understand,
Yeah.
that's why I'm trying to
Yeah.
find an alternate, that if that's
Absolutely.
not going to be an option and refused, then do I have an alternate? And the alternate would be, probably the only alternate would be on the left-hand side. Left-hand side, like Warren and I was talking about, right?
You have the room, you just really.
I have the room, I just figure out whether I gotta change the dimensions a bit, like how much room do I have? Does it service, like, I don't necessarily need a 14 by 30 shed, right? I can go a little bit smaller, that's why I was trying to kind of give conditions, say, what if I go 12, what if I go 24? Like if I put a 12 by 24 shed over there, I was just like, service, yeah, on the side,
On the side.
because the problem, even, I can't go below 12 foot, so the 12 foot still doesn't give me enough variance off the road for that to even be considered, is what I'm hearing you all. So I've got to get out of the front yard, I've got to get out of the side yard, and then figure out how big
Yeah.
I'm gonna be able to accommodate something there,
Well, so the board didn't finish their.
No, you can see her. Look at
I'm not saying that, but it's, I'm not gonna speak for the board, it looks like it might not be going in a positive direction, there are alternatives being offered. So, shall we for the moment table this and discuss?
Read that question again.
Whether undesirable change would be produced in character of neighborhood or detriment to neighborhood nearby properties.
As it exists now, yes.
But,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, you're going, you're gonna say
No.
no.
So, that's okay.
Okay. Should we go to the next one?
Well,
Should we table?
Well, I think, that there's some alternatives being offered, so I think maybe table the discussion for now, right? So far we have both, two factors
Did you already have an
that
anticipated
have not
reading?
been positive.
I just don't hate you the whole, I had no idea how.
I wanted to make sure, because we've had that before, if we hold and then all of a sudden it's getting delivered and it's put there, then we've got to.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but what I'm hearing is there's two criterion that, I mean, if the next three criteria could go well or not, but if there's alternatives, and this sounds like the applicant is willing to discuss that, if we table this discussion and do have a discussion, what might be this criterion, I think that would be very productive.
Is there any,
I'm just looking, if I can,
Yeah.
then where, from what size, if so, that would be a variance, that's fine, and I'll decide whether I ultimately purchase a building to have it put there or not, but at least I got a permit within a certain period of time to allow for this structure, just trying to tell you what I can.
So the side yard setback, if you did, okay, the solution, so the solution would be that side, one of the solutions, if you're proposing is where you have that side yard setback, would be what, Tom?
The side yard
If you move
setback,
the shed to the side,
it would be, he has to have 20 feet from the side yard property in the RA zone.
So
If you
but
get,
then the complicating factor of that is if you do that, you also have to have at least the house facing side of that fire rated, because it's close to the house. Because that's what we've had to do in the past.
I can say.
Is that your Tom?
Well, that was
I just wanna see if we have the natural resources, if there is anything that's going to
because
prohibit.
if you put that on the side of your house and you got a variance for the side yard setback of a couple feet or whatever, and let's say it's only 12 foot wide, you only have 27 feet on the side of your house.
27.2.
So no matter how you slice it, even if he's right on his property line,
It wouldn't serve the purpose that you needed it for.
you're not that far from the home. So you want to consider that in case of fire.
You're kind of understanding why I submitted for the spot that I did, because I thought it was the only reasonable spot if I had it far enough off the road, but I knew that it was.
I'm not opposed to it on the side there, it's more so
Well,
is there a requirement?
code. I guess we could even look at like, you wouldn't even need any, that leach field, how big is the leach field, and how much can you push back the shed to be avoiding a leach field? If he was able to push it back far enough, it would be more toward, it would be on top of the house then.
Well, that's why I was asking, what is the reasonable easement, if not 40 foot, and if not, if I'm asking for 27, how far back do I have to consider to move that shed back to be reasonable, for it to be considered?
So
Do I need
that's,
to move another 7 or 8 foot, or is it 4 foot? Or-
so the board needs to say, because it's not, it's like, well, what, right now, the 3 out of the 4 members say it's not good, right, it's a detriment to the neighborhood, and the first criterion was,
I feasible
I
alternative.
think we all agree on the first one, it's the second, right?
the feasible alternative, the answer was, that it does seem to be a feasible alternative, what is it, don't know. And so now, that's why this is, you know, so if you were to go through the criterion, and this is a straw vote, I mean, this is not, we still have to do the formal discussion, right? So the question is, if you put it next to the house, that's one of the things that's being offered. He would need a variance, because it would be, so how far does it have to be away from the house?
I am, if you give me one second,
Putting the codes down and stuff.
well, in the way that we've done this before is detached tool sheds and storage sheds do not need to meet the exterior wall fire rating requirement.
Mhm.
Now, when you start getting into garages and things of that nature is where we start requiring the fire rating for them. I'm going to look up what, because you're gonna be putting a boat in it. And if we are gonna classify that, we as in New York State are gonna classify that as a garage at
But
that point.
if he puts in a boat or not, doesn't mean he can't park his Corvette in there later, so.
Yeah, I mean, you have,
It's a garage.
if we're gonna go down that road where you have
Mhm.
a combustible and an engine,
So how many feet does it have to be away
well,
to not require the rating?
5 feet.
There, 27 feet, minus 5, that's 22.
3, well, if, are you having,
So you'd have to have a variance in that.
Yeah, either way, you're gonna have to.
Right.
So what is that variance then? If we did that, the variance would be,
Just a couple feet. Well, no, it would be substantial, it'd be like
27.6 minus 5, and then minus 14 feet, or 12, and what's left would be the remainder.
correct.
And then can you submit
yeah,
it?
it would be 13.
27.6 minus 5,
22.
okay, and then 14 feet for
Up to the
Yeah.
the planter. So that would be what, 8 feet?
8.6.
8.6.
Okay, I was totally
Right.
Okay,
Oh, from the property line,
Right.
which would mean he would need a 12-foot variance.
so that's what I would need.
Yeah.
I said
Right.
13. So you would need a 13-foot variance for
There
the
would
side
be
yard.
enough room to put a lower to.
So that is what,
That's enough for the access.
yeah.
Just asking a question. Would you put the Corvette in there and put the boat in one of your other garages?
I would pull it, I would pull it back around,
Okay.
side to.
Well, it's
Just
just right
that-
now, it doesn't have a driveway, so you have to drive it through your front yard and.
Just
Yeah, if
asking.
we go on the side, yeah, I don't know if I need something else for that, but I think we should extend my gravel driveway around the front of it, so I would have to do, but I don't know. I have to come back and see if I need it.
Not to create a turnaround
Yeah,
by doing that.
So that's strictly as a discussion item. If he needs, a 12-foot variance on the side yard and pulls it back parallel with the house, would that create an undesirable change in the neighborhood?
I don't think so, not with the hedges along the side, I don't think you'd see a lot.
And by the way, the other side of this house is only an 8-foot side yard setback, so I don't know. There must have been a time and place, a different time and place, right?
That whole neighborhood was built.
Previous to those, right?
Yeah, before the code, yeah. So,
Do you want to continue with these or tabling them or what do you?
well, I think that we're trying to give him advice because what he has to do is modify, he has to see if he can do it, modify his variance. So we're just trying to get an idea, if you go for this criterion, is it likely that that would be more likely to happen? We can't do without the formal application, but without we see if we can do it.
If we do that, I'd like to see a survey that shows the septic and the leach field, so you know what we're working on. Because I think that, otherwise you're kind of on conjecture, you're just guessing at that point, right?
how do you get that, but I love that too.
No.
We might,
Okay.
it is a possibility, it's a low possibility, but there is a possibility that we have it.
I mean, if he gets a little driveway over it, it's not gonna have to leach field.
I think relative to it, you'd be able to at least take a rough measurement off your house to your vent to then possibly your district. I don't know if you have 2 vents or 1 when yours was done.
There's one vent there, I know where the cover of the septic is, like I know pretty reasonably where the septic is. I made an assumption that the leach field normally comes off the front of that, it could come off the side, right? So it could be back further than it is, but I have no way of recognizing that. I didn't build it, and I have no survey or any documentation of where that might lay out. So I made an assumption that leach field's gotta go out in the front yard, whether it's 2-finger, 5-finger, whether it goes out there 10 feet, whether it was done right, I have no clue, right? So I like the idea, we could find out where the leach field is, we might be able to solve the problem just by pulling the shed back. You know, it'd be my decision, you guys could say, hey, you need to pull back another 10 foot, that's on top of your house, that's your decision, not ours, right? But that's what is required, and then.
Well, there would be no variance required.
Right, exactly, right, but I'm just trying to be open and transparent, like, I don't know the
Yeah.
leach field exactly.
And we appreciate that.
Mhm.
Well, to get rid of the variance, you'd have to go back 21 feet if you narrowed it to 12 feet, so.
Yeah. It's possible to do.
How many feet is there in your driveway from that pad to the front of the house?
You're talking about between, like, so here, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking?
Yep.
No,
I
Warren?
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. if
How long is the driveway dimension is there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Charlie's 94.
Yeah, so you could,
What'd you say?
Well, minus. Right, 17 to the 1 inch.
94 feet. Is the
I
driveway?
don't know, I want
then you can go 14 foot, so I'll say 17 foot, you go 14 foot, that aligns to the back side of that driveway. And then I think the question was, well, how far is it from the back side of the driveway to the house, right? So I'd say it's 50 feet, 55 feet then.
Just trying to think of how much extra space you have, so.
That would be about, that would be it, right? And he puts in, then you get 12 to 15 feet. Depending on the next year, 12 foot.
That's a cool tool. I love this. I love it, yeah, so this would be.
Yeah, it helps if we have like a reasonable estimate of saying, hey, it can't be 17 foot off the property. It needs to be at least 25 foot for us to consider a green light easement, right? For it not to be a obstruction of the neighborhood. One that is not gonna, you know, meet the other criteria.
Criteria,
right?
yeah.
So that, again, at least I can determine whether that's even reasonable or just take it off the board.
And that was what, and Jamie was saying, like, usually with these criteria, if there's at least 3 that say yes, that tells us it needs to go.
So I think that one of the questions that's out there, is there any front yard variance that would be suitable for this
it's hard to say, and it's a whole thing, but otherwise it would have to be, either that here, either this, is that size of variance, 20 for variance, it's hard to say, but Claire, I don't know, I think you,
I'm not comfortable with it being in the front yard.
Either way.
Okay,
for the neighborhood and various criterion.
okay. So the next step would be, if two of us are not comfortable, I agree with you, I'm not comfortable with being in the front yard, but I think it's a solution, alternative solution to be in the front, or coming with a different solution, having a side yard, thinking possible in the back, figuring out where that leach field is. It's, what do you think, Tim?
And I was, again, we've approved in the front yard before, so it's not outside the ordinary. It's not common. But I was not opposed to the accommodations he was looking to make, if he narrowed the shed and moved it back however many feet, but until we know where that leach field is, we can't say what that is to make a good determination. And I think it's a nice neighborhood, but also I don't think that accessory buildings are outside of the norm for that area. I grew up not far from there, so I know very well. If you were putting it back 10 feet or so, the other side of it is you gotta think of it from his perspective as a homeowner. Do you wanna be looking out your front picture window there and all you see is a shed?
Then I look at the neighbors though. Being a neighbor looking out and being able to see each other in the front yard.
Well, you both, I mean, but
I have no neighbor on the right hand
That's
side to
true.
see
That's
anything.
Exactly.
Mark on the left hand side is like, you guys can talk to him, he's not any objection, and then there's a whole hedgerow just like on the right side of the house, from the house, so there isn't like the neighbors are looking for sitting on their front yard and seeing anything.
Yep.
That's the perspective of the neighborhood, it's not,
I think, in my opinion, would be best to table it, let's see if we get a survey, see where the leach field or the septic is. And then look at what the alternative is to put it on the side of the house.
I'm willing to look at the alternative,
Yeah.
trying to work through that, right? As long as you guys still consider that if the alternative doesn't work, then what are the requirements to do anything? And if the end of the decision is I can't do anything, at least I have that answer.
Yeah.
And it's just a process that we need to go through.
Yeah.
Well, you have enough width between your house and where the hedges are, that it could be done space-wise.
I just have to go back to the survey, I've got to resubmit kind of survey plans, right, and then resubmit that as the ask.
Yeah, and the alternative plans
Right,
to update it, if it's even feasible. If not, what's the second solution?
so Warren, on that side of that property, the hedgerow goes down, or it's like, if I was gonna measure that, try to reassess, like, draw on the survey where I think that building would go.
Yeah.
Do I go 2 foot off the property line, do I go 5 foot?
Well,
So I can start, like, how far is 12 foot from house, so I can properly represent it on the survey, and then walk that back to you guys.
I want to hear what Tom has to say on that.
Yeah, Tom?
I did not listen to what you guys were saying.
I was gonna we were gonna table it today, and then I was gonna go back to the property, pull a new survey, right, and draw on the survey the representation of where I think that shed would go on the side rather than the front. I'm trying to understand how far off the side easement I would go to start my measurements of this 12 or 14 foot, so I know where it would, like the footprint would be, relative to my house. So I can make the determination that, okay, that would work, let's make it this size, let's resubmit for you guys to consider. Or I can make that determination there, it's too close to the house, it obstructs too much, I'd have to take down the tree, I don't want to resubmit or pursue,
I believe that what Tom said was that it's to not have to put in a firewall 5 feet. off the
But
house.
it's not house,
So,
yeah, okay.
There is, for the right-hand garage, that's one you have the Corvette in.
Yeah, it's behind the camera.
Is there, I just was asking Tim about this, would it be possible to take this garage and put it here? If you're looking at it, you can see this right there. and put it here, and then
So
this
like the
would,
Warren's going to not put it against the garage, pull it out.
yeah, and give you enough room, because you have 90 feet. You could have 30 feet essentially, and then it'd be a smaller ask. Chef's Corner Road, I believe, is
So
county.
that building would be right, basically where this white space is here.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
would
so it would
push
still
you,
be an obstruction from the road because,
it would push you farther back to here, give you the room to pull your car, which I'm assuming, I mean, that.
I would not, I'm not gonna drop it in the front of my garage. It just looks odd,
Okay,
right? It's already going.
we saw that other
I
one,
would
that's what I
consider
thought.
resubmitting on what it would be on the left-hand side, right? It's just like,
Yeah,
I appreciate the option.
Yeah, I just wanna give you as many
Yeah,
options. so that you
Absolutely, I appreciate that consideration.
There's also,
For sure.
to me, if you do that, you're actually probably more of an obstruction to the neighbor next door. Because you're almost putting it right in front of their house. too.
Yeah.
And there's only,
Yeah, I would do that because
I'd
there's a
rather
lot
be on the
more
other side.
pulling out of the driveway, you know,
and there's only a couple feet off the side of that garage as it is. And even if you stagger it, his driveway's gonna,
Yeah, it would come and have to go like.
and then it would have to go to the county to get, this county road, they'd have to approve the,
I don't think they would have an issue with your new culvert pipe, putting it there and modifying it.
I think that's it. If you're gonna look at a different
Yeah.
alternative, we'll get the left side of the house.
Yeah, the left side. So what we can do is mutually agree, table it, you do the survey, and then if you feel like it is, we mutually agree to do that, an alternative, I can't even talk, alternative solution. You look at that, and then you can come back and resubmit, or say, no, this is not.
or you could draw it in like it did the first time, come back with our dimensions and stuff and resubmit.
Yeah.
So it can be reconsidered and then brought back. to-
Yeah, and we would go through the same questions again, the criteria questions again, but at least we kind of know where you're at and like what we're
We all
trying
have
to
a
figure
better
out.
idea what we're trying to solve for, right? Not to be obstruction, be able to clarify it.
Yeah.
Appreciate the options.
Yeah.
Excuse me, are you looking at the deadline?
Yeah, do I need to have, does he need to have the paperwork in before
Because
the
we would be,
deadline?
we would
Well, we're going
be
to,
filing it,
we're,
resubmitting it, right, with a different variance.
when do you need to get, I think we would need to,
I think if he's got the application's already in, he's just gonna give us more paperwork. And if we're gonna put it
but
on,
it is a different variance.
yeah,
It's quite substantially different variance, so I think you would need to send the,
Yeah.
you send the notices.
yeah, I have to resend the notices and the public hearing and stuff, so the deadline for that would be to have all the paperwork. I would need it by the 28th of this month to have it on the agenda for March.
I'm not in any big hurry, that's why I did it during the winter, so
Okay.
if I could get a permit, I know what I would order, and if I could copy okay, then I would order it this spring, it doesn't take that long to build it or what, right? So I'm not like in a hurry, we can jam in or what, let's do it right, and if you guys can consider, variance for me, then it'd be great.
Then maybe we table it for the 18th meeting, April 18th, that'll give him just over a month to get me the paperwork.
I can do survey, because I can drop that off tomorrow, that.
Well, you gotta get the survey for the leach field, right? You guys want that?
I don't think he goes with that.
We can try, I mean, it won't be much for me to look it up, I can have that information, whether we have it or not within a day or so.
So if you think you can get your drawing for the alternative by February 28th to me, you can email it to me. I think that's how we communicated email, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll email, I'll do some measurements tomorrow, and then I'll email it to you, or I'll just drop it off to you, the window.
So we can have it to move by the 28th.
So it's an adjustment, not a resubmission, or do I have to do all the paperwork
He
over?
doesn't have to do,
No,
no, just
Because you've already submitted it, so you don't have to it's just, it's an addendum to what we have here. So, more just get it to carry and then you'll be good.
Just because it's different, want to make sure your neighbors know.
Okay, so we mutually agree to that, made the paperwork in, we did that in, and then it goes out. So we're gonna vote on tabling it?
Yes,
Motion to table it,
I make a motion tables.
a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for being so understanding.
Thank you for the discussion and opportunity.
Thank you guys. For your patience. All right, so on to the next one. Okay. The next property is, give me just a second. Yep, 15 Do Good Road for a height variance of 17 inches to 28 foot 10 inches. So what I'm going to do is, the legal notice for tonight's agenda has been published to notify the general public of this meeting. May I have a motion to waive the reading of this publication?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. At this time, I request a motion to open the public hearing on the 15 Do Good Road property.
I make the motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, come on up. Mr. Porter, I'm assuming?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
So what are you planning on doing?
Sure, so I bought that lot with an idea to perhaps subdivide it and make proposals for that, and decided instead to just build my family home on there, which I've done. I've lived in this town for many years and have always been a good property owner. To that end, I did my best to do everything I could to preserve sort of the natural state of that property. At great expense, have moved the house significantly down, almost 1,000 feet from the road, placed the house that I'm constructing in an area which is essentially dead in the middle of that property to preserve the natural surroundings around that from all other neighbors. And with regard to the barn that I would like to build for my children to shoot baskets in the winter, which is literally all it is. I've tucked it over to the side. I think Mr. Leinhardt saw it the other day when I missed my meeting with him, but he was down there. I apologize, and I apologize again for wasting your time that day. I spent time in the Army. I'd have to do a lot of push-ups for missing that meeting in the past life, but I apologize for that. But in any event, where I placed that structure, it's virtually unseeable from anyone adjacent. Even now with no foliage on any of the trees or brush, if you stand where my house is or where that barn is proposed to be, you almost cannot see another house anywhere around. There's, right now with no foliage, there's one house, which is someone I know named Greg Hedges' home. It's, you can, through the trees, barely see color, but you cannot even make out the house. So I placed it there for a reason. Can't see it from the road, can't see it from the sides. With foliage, during the time of year where there's foliage, it's literally unseeable from anywhere. It's a complete 200-foot buffer from the Cahill Road residents that authored this letter that I was provided today. I've never spoken to any of these people in my life before today. Mr. Getman introduced himself to me earlier this evening, but I can assure this board that the normal concerns that town boards have regarding height variances are not in play here. I have no intention of utilizing that for any commercial use. There will be no noise encumbrance. It's virtually unseeable even during the time of no foliage. Noise will not be an issue. It's literally, I don't want the peak to be that high because it's expensive to do it. I would much rather it smaller, but 2 of my 5 children who remain at home are young and they like to play basketball, and I thought it would be a nice place to have a basketball hoop in there, and you need that height to be able to do it. So there's no intentions on doing anything of a commercial nature, producing noise, producing revenue or income or running a business or anything like that. That's the simple purpose of it. With regard to the concerns about neighbors being able to see, I've read this letter and I don't understand it. If I can't see them, I don't know how they see me. And the fact remains that, you know, I'm not going to build an unsightly structure. It's going to be sheathed in the same materials. There's going to be a gray roof on, which will blend in to the surroundings quite well, which is something I want for myself. And, you know, the peak of my home, which has been approved, is significantly taller and higher and more conspicuous than the barn would ever be from any adjacent landowner. The roof lines of the houses on Cahill that are next to the neighbors that have filed this objection are taller than the roof line of this structure I'm intending to build. I don't understand how having a building, well, this is just me, I'm saying, I don't understand how having a structure tucked into the woods that can't be seen by anybody with a roof line of that height is any different in character or quality than the homes and the garages up and down that street that they can see. They're super conspicuous to anyone. It's just a little beyond me, and I don't understand it, but I don't understand it from the letter, but that's sort of my view of it. I have no interest in doing anything that would disturb that property, either in terms of unsightly structure, noise, or commercial use. Anyway, that's my
Where's the
pitch.
Hedges property?
It is on Cahill. Oh,
Yeah, sorry, just curious, right?
it is,
Little sliver.
I believe it's one of these two homes.
It's the one on the left that you're pointing to, that's the Hedges house.
The little leg.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's no, you know,
it's going the other,
It's to the right hand side.
It's going
that one right there.
yeah, it's that house.
I'm sorry, I'm disoriented with the map.
He said the Hedges, he talked to the neighbor, the Hedges, so earlier, so that's why I
Oh,
asked.
I didn't say I spoke to him. I know him,
Oh, you
and I know which house this is. And when I stand there, I can, because I was frankly concerned, I don't want to see them. I mean, I bought this large, I put the house in the structure where it is specifically to be inconspicuous, as much as they don't want to see me. And I understand that the concern of a neighbor that somebody buys land that has been for 25 years, just wooded and untouched, although an interesting aside is they have really stripped that land clear of, you know, they've clear cut lots of that land and logged that to the point where it's somewhat devastated. I do have intentions on reforesting the entire property. I've already spoken to a landscaper by the name of Tim Watson about doing all that. So wherever it's been thinned out already, I plan to actually make my presence there more inconspicuous than it already is, but it almost can't be more inconspicuous than it already is. I placed it exactly where I did to decrease. I wasn't more concerned about people seeing me as I was about being able to see them. That was the whole point, so.
Would you plan on, like, because the concern of the letter is keeping tree line along that Cahill side or creating it more dense? Is your vision of what, I mean, that would pretty much, that's what they're thinking. They want to make sure the trees on that line won't be taken down?
Well,
It's,
sure, I read that in their proposal for a contingency, but with all due respect to my neighbors, it's my property and I bought it and I can do what I like. I can tell you all that I don't have any intention ever of taking any trees down for all the reasons that I just explained, but at the same time, I would rather not build a structure than have my ability to use that property encumbered by some legal condition placed on it. I would opt instead not to build it because I paid a lot of money for that property and I wouldn't want to be encumbered in that fashion. Would I ever take those trees down? Of course not. I don't know why anyone would. It would be illogical to do so. I can't log anything there. There are no trees to log. There's no good trees left. It is it's been wild for 25 years. I bought it for that purpose. Anyway, it can't be more inconspicuous anywhere in the town of Manlius almost than that is. Like, that's sort of, to me, the irony of this is, I understand the concern. Nobody's ever spoken to me. Nobody called me. Nobody ever asked me, introduced themselves to me and said, welcome to the neighborhood. We're concerned about this. What are your intentions? Instead, this letter was sent. If anyone had done that, I would have said the exact same thing I said. It should be obvious from, I mean, it is costing me, it'll cost me $100,000 to run electric and gas down to where I put that property, where I built that house. That is not an insignificant expense, and I did that precisely to preserve the buffer between me and any adjacent landowners. If I didn't want to do that, I would have built the house closer to the road because there would be no difference. So, I mean, I think my actions to date demonstrate my desire to keep it as is, and again, no intention to do anything with this. No intention to do anything with a structure that is typically associated with somebody wanting to build a bigger property, to put commercial vehicles in there or to run businesses or do any of those things that would generate noise or any other sort of disturbance from my neighbors. So to answer that, I'm a lawyer, so I have to use a lot of words to answer a short question. I know. But so no, there's no, I don't think you could make it more dense. I mean,
you won't be clearing the trees, is basically, but then you could have had maybe the development, and you could have cleared the trees.
yes, exactly, which is something, I mean, that was sort of the initial purpose until my lovely bride talked me into not doing that and building a home there. And she gets what she wants sometimes, most of the time. But that was the plan, and that's the plan I'm executing. There is no room to subdivide any longer. I mean, I could, but I would never do it because I built my house there that I plan to live and die in, so.
Warren?
When I was there, I could see 3 houses, you got power there.
Yes, the power station.
Power's there, because I think that power is run over to your trailer, and
Yes,
I see where the house is.
yes, sir.
So I've got a couple questions. I saw 3 houses on Cahill from where I was standing. I could see them through the trees.
Okay.
I didn't see him, the fact is I could see him. So during the summer, obviously with foliage, Cahill is also higher on ground than where you were proposing to build this building. So I'm looking up to Cahill.
Yes,
I also looked and saw a house. So as you go down the driveway, your house, you barely see your house going down the driveway.
yes, sir.
So as I go down the driveway and I get out of my car, near where the garage was, I looked to the left and I could see a house
Back, yes,
to the left.
yes.
And I saw 3 houses to the right. So one of the questions I have is, you said this is for basketball. Why does it have to be 28 feet tall?
Well, because the width of a basketball court, so I don't know the exact, this is Aaron Kolb, he's my architect. So the width of a basketball court, is such that the trusses need to be designed a certain way. So actually the inside clearance is only, the number,
It's
21.
20, it's 20 feet, 6 inches on the interior. So what we're doing is an interior vaulted truss. So the interior, the bottom side of the inside of the truss is 2.5 inches on 12, or 2.5 on 12 from pitch. But to make that truss work, is one of these the truss manufacturer has the outside of the 5 on 12. So that rule of thumb is kind of your interior pitch is half of your exterior pitch. So that's why we have the 5 on 12 on the outside to achieve that height on the inside. So it's kind of cathedral ceiling inside the basketball court to get that recommended basketball court height of about 20 feet for the art of the shop. So that's kind of how we land on that height, kind of dictated by the basketball use inside.
I'm wondering for Cahill, as I look towards where your new house is going to be built, because that's on higher ground than where you want to put your building, your new building. If you look straight across, I'm wondering how much of the building you would see if I was looking from Cahill down, because that's downhill.
Sure, they'd certainly see less of it than they would by looking left or right at their neighbors or across the street. Through the trees right now, I've only ever seen one. I can see color through the bare branches. You can't make, I think you'd agree, you can't make out a house or the lines of a house, but
the other two houses that you saw, maybe I just, maybe I haven't even looked. I see the white house because it's white, but to be honest with you, I've never even really looked for that purpose until this became an issue, but I know with foliage, you can't see anything. That is a 200-foot.
Yeah, well, I agree with foliage.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, looking straight out from KL towards your property, how much of the building, the top of the building would you say?
Yeah, this is gonna sound like a lawyer answer. They can see less of that than they can see my house. I mean, I'm not sure if the objection is that they're looking at one structure when they used to look at none. Now,
They looked at trees before.
right,
I mean, there are trees, and especially back in your house, there's a big path back where a lot of trees were cut down.
well, it was actually almost exclusively brush because that was an old mining road, so there were no trees. They ran, that what you see is not a clear-cut road. That road existed. That is where Tarky Lombardi ran large pieces of equipment to go to the back and pull all the good trees out of there. So that was always like that. That looks natural because it is. That's what was there. So I actually took down very few actual obstructive trees. That area was all heavily timbered, and it was almost exclusively brush. You can see the back where the evergreen trees are. That was sort of the start of the portion that was not logged as heavily as the rest of it. But, I guess my point is that, the house that they now see, and they will when there's no foliage on the trees, somewhat. I mean, I doubt they can make out even the lines of the house, other than to see there is a house there, but we live in the village or the town. I mean,
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So when you, did the site plan with the planning board for the home, was this discussed as part of the conversation?
This did not, this did not.
It did. I wasn't sure if that or not.
The single family home did not require any review because of where it was. There is no height requirement for a single family home.
So this was lower.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't part of the conversation, just to fill in any blanks we had.
And I just wanted to mention to your point one, it ranges because the property slopes from east to west. Coming from Newgood towards the back of Blank's property. So some of the houses on Cahill, for this online mapping software I use, kind of really grain of salt, start at 770 feet in elevation, and then they range to 760 feet. The elevation in about my farm is 740, so there's a 20 to 30 foot height difference between some of the properties on Cahill versus the barn location. So, yeah, so they might be looking out in the barn, let's say the finished floor of the barn might be 20 feet lower. So if we cut a line at that 20 feet, they might see 8 feet of the structure. It's like, their vision is cut off,
My question was about height, was because I'm not a builder, but 28 feet, I measured my house today to see where 28 feet was from the ground to the top.
Yeah.
And that seems like a lot to me.
Nothing that's wrong
Let me explain why.
there.
What's the height of an average basketball hoop?
Well, to the rim is 10 feet.
10 feet.
Yeah. And then you have 4 feet of backboard, above that, so.
Okay, I'm gonna read the letter real quick,
yes, ma'am.
and then, before I read the letter, anybody from the audience have anything to say?
Give me 1 second, there was one person on.
You're right. Do they wanna say anything?
If you have anything to say, please raise your hand and we can unmute you.
Looks like Terry Picker design.
Yeah.
If Terry does raise their hand, I'll let you know.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna read the letter. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the undersigned are owners of houses and lots on Cahill Road, abutting the lot of 5015 Dugan Road, in which a single family residence is being constructed. The owners are seeking your approval of a variance to construct a sports barn with a roof ridge line of 28 feet 10 inches, for which a variance from the zoning board is required. Said law allowing garages separate from the house with a roof line of no more than 17 feet. Our neighborhood consists of houses with attached garages. There's no separate garages with much garages in excess of 17 feet of the size. The presence of a separate freestanding structure with a height of 28 feet, and 10 inches would be an anomaly in the neighborhood and out of character. Nevertheless, we appreciate that our new neighborhood is a large lot of a single family house, and there's plenty of room to accommodate all the concerns of all. In particular, we would request the ZBA expressly condition approval of the variance on the owners leaving a 100-foot strip of land on their lot adjacent to the Cahill Road. Lot owners free and clear of any disturbance, including further development, tree or brush removal, or further landscaping. Well, we would also ask the owner consider non-reflective roofing and siding materials in neutral tones. Since the new sports barn is 165 feet off the owner's property line with Cahill Road lots, there should be plenty of room around the sports barn to accommodate this request to allow for landscaping. Thank you for your consideration, your concerns, and your service to the town of Manlius. Respectively, George and Suzanne Getman, Elizabeth Albright, and Patrick Jordan, and Terry and Judy Pickard. Terry, do you have anything to say? So Jane, I have a question. Oh, their hand is raised.
There. Am I the only one that's appearing?
There's another person in the audience right now.
Am I appearing at the meeting? Can you hear me now?
Hear you. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you, Mary.
Oh, okay. Look, everything that I wanted to say is in the letter. I just want to welcome Mr. Porter and his family, of course, to our neighborhood. We look forward to seeing his house completed and him enjoying his property and his barn. The only thing that we requested is maybe that we agree that the 100-foot strip along the property line would remain undisturbed, as we put in the letter.
Which house number are you on Cahill, Terry?
I'm sorry, I have a problem hearing what you're saying.
Which house number are you on Cahill, or are you on Cahill?
Oh, I'm at 7844.
7844.
Yeah, actually, is Mr. Getman on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Would you like to come up or no?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead. I was gonna take the microphone and put it on the table for the board.
Mr. Getman's right here.
Yeah, I too would welcome Mr. Porter and his family to the neighborhood. And I respect Mr. Porter's, what he's done. He's purchased the property. And it's a beautiful piece of property. And from what I understand, he's building a beautiful home for his family. As Terry was saying, and I think it is in the letter, 3 houses. It is visible. I can see his house. I can see I think it's a attached garage. And the sports barn, it's in a bit of a swale downhill from us. So I don't know exactly. I mean, I believe it's like 55 feet by 80 feet. So it's a large building. I mean, so it is, we're talking about the house a lot, but I'm here, I think it's going to be a wonderful house. And no issues or concerns with that. It's just, we don't know exactly what this structure is going to look like. We can see the house and the garage, so the barn is going to be closer. Still a lot of distance there. As I say, he's purchased a large, wonderful lot. And our concern is really kind of what are we gonna be looking at, with that there. I do agree, there's a great buffer there. And there always was a lot more woods back there, and I quite frankly, I didn't realize there was that amount of logging that occurred in the past. And so it's kind of the, looking downward, and I don't know if this is part of it. It may be looking across, he doesn't see the Hedges house because of the trees being higher or whatnot, and there's obviously different lines of sight that may present from different areas. So it's really, I mean, it sounds like we're all on the same page in a sense. We love the area up there, the property, the land. There's a lot of privacy. And I hear Mr. Porter saying too that he doesn't want to take down trees. So it seems like we're kind of on the same thought process there. And I did reach out to the architect. I thought maybe that was the right way to do it several days ago, and it was asking questions about the what the building might look like, and the drawings look wonderful. But we don't know what the roofing is, siding is, and again, it's kind of simple. All we're asking is the preservation of some kind of border there, which is there, and we think it would be conducive for the whole neighborhood. And again, I think that's simply put, and again, we do welcome and I do respect what you're doing there, and respect what you wonderful family you have from everything I hear. So.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What are you planning on, like the roofing and the siding, matching the house, or what is that?
I mean, the plan now, yes, the plan is composite siding, 40-year siding, what's the name of it? Diamond coat, so it's a wood, it mimics wood and looks like wood, I just don't have to paint it, it's nice. And so, on the
Like wood color?
white, the house is going to be white, and so we would probably match the barn walls to that with a gray metal roof is the idea. With regard to the request for the 100-foot condition, I would, it seems like a crazy stance on principle, but I bought this lot for my use. I have no interest in, there's no assurance I can give anybody that I'm not going to do that, other than to say that I'm not. But I would abandon plans to build this structure if there was a formal encumbrance placed on my property not to landscape the land that I bought. I do plan to clear brush to make room, and part of the reason is pragmatic, that I do plan to reforest that property. And if I build this structure and there's a formal condition placed on that, and then I take brush to be able to plant new trees, cherry and oak trees, which I plan to do in there because they're big and thick and full, then then I'm dealing with litigation from neighbors for landscaping the property that I purchased, and it just feels wrong to me. So I don't know what sort of assurance I can give these adjacent property owners other than to say that, but if that were a formal condition, then I would withdraw my application now and go a different direction. If that was the only way I could build a structure for my 2 young boys to shoot baskets in during the winter time, then I would go a different direction. But it seems that.
How far is the structure from the property lines that we're talking about?
It's
So the Jason Spalding surveyor put it at 199 feet.
I don't know why I don't see the survey. Actual survey. You guys have that? Well, okay, this is what I have. I can't do that.
This is
That's the actual survey.
that's from the surveyor himself. Yep.
Do we have that?
I referenced for this project, we referenced the drawings which pull from that survey for the garage.
So it's about 200.
And
And I believe I think it's 199 to the closest property line. It fans and up or down Cahill, it's more because it's further away.
Would this building be parallel to Cahill? Or
Yeah, it would be, the length of it would
with
be,
the way I saw the power, got a transformers or,
yeah,
so that is not parallel to Cahill.
Right.
That's
Okay,
kind of.
And that's just temporary there, that's just to run power through to for the contractors.
Because if you're building a house, the height variance would be higher. But anyway, so you wanna be able to control water and central air, which is your property.
Or just use it,
Yeah.
I mean, we have 2 dogs, we'd like to be able to have walking trails back, I just know how these things go and.
Because you've got 35 acres. We're talking about a boundary line between the side of where you chose to build. I don't
Yeah,
understand
okay.
taking down the natural vegetation to plant oak trees.
Should we close the public hearing? Is that the next step to this?
Yeah, there's Terry, do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, do you have anything else? Okay, so. This is the. Okay.
I muted him, I don't think he has anything else to say.
Okay. Make a motion to close the public hearing. Make a motion, or,
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through, at this time, sorry, let me skip this. I'm gonna ask 5 criteria questions for the board to determine whether the variance requested is in balance with or is a deterrent to health, safety, and welfare of the community. So the first question is whether benefits sought by applicant can be achieved by a feasible alternative to variance.
Not build what we want.
Not to build a basketball hoop. All right,
You would always need a height variance.
because what was that you built?
Or the criterias.
All right, we're saying no. But, one, okay. Whether undesirable change could be produced in character or neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties.
No.
Do you want to expound on that?
Sure, I believe in that it's not that visible. And if it is, he has a huge lot, and you could have, they have neighbors that they see too.
I also think, he owns the property, he could make it development on it, because it has 3 or 4 houses on that property. Or another house, and sell it to have 2 houses. Like, it could be many things you could do with that property, right? Or no?
I've got a question. How tall is the roof on your house going to be?
Significantly higher than, taller than the ground. And it's higher, so the pad, as you saw, is lower than in elevation in the pad of the house, so measured from the ground up on the house is higher than.
Higher than 28 feet?
Yeah, and then even higher because the pad for the barn is lower than the foundation for the.
So the house is substantially higher than.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah.
So just to finish that thought process,
The undesirable change can be produced in character or neighborhood.
so, Claire said her reasons, did people agree with that or want to add it? He added something.
Well, I also think that even, so if he did not build this basketball, he could probably take out all the trees and put whatever he wanted in it. And he would be able to do that without having, this, that's how we do that.
It's a structure.
You could build within 40 feet of the property line,
I think 20.
20.
20 on the side.
Okay.
So that's the only piece that I think about is that if this doesn't go through, you pull it, he can build 3 or 4 structures on that property without anything, and he can take out all those trees. You know, so that's what I almost do too. And that would be a detriment.
The question I had was about the height necessary if you're going to build this, because there's no upper floor of this building. Correct. It's required that you have that to take into account the nature of the basketball court width and length. It's gotta be 28 feet.
That's the recommendation, to get the interior height.
To get the pitch.
1.5 feet, and then structural trusses is what kind of makes up that, gets it up to 20 feet.
Is that gonna be a wooden structure or?
It'll be, wood trusses.
Wood trusses.
Wood trusses, yeah, it'll be wood structure.
Wood structure. Okay.
Should I go to the next question?
Did you finish that?
Do you have anything, so going back to what I said about he could build anywhere. Nobody would have a say in what you put there. Right, so he could take out all the trees and the neighbors would be like, done, it wouldn't matter, it wouldn't, right? That's why I just think that if he's gonna pull back and say, we're not, well, I'm just gonna get from this property. Take down all the trees, make all these trails, and then everybody can see what you're seeing. He's at the house and everything, you know? You understand more what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. I mean, you specified that he wants privacy.
As I say, you specified at the beginning that he wants the privacy and privacy that wants, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the big question I had was, as I said, I saw the 3 houses through the trees. It's winter time, there's no leaves. In the summer, no problem. And I assume you're gonna build this right next to where that power is current.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so 200 feet.
Yes.
And the only question I had was, the house is on Bay Hill, not the one on the other side, that's too far away. Would they, if they look out, are they gonna, what are they gonna see of this building? Like, when there is no filtration.
Yeah,
I mean, it's up on it, because it's raised compared to where this building is.
Are you talking about them from the second floor of the house or the first?
Well, I mean, I mean, to see where the windows are, I'm not up to here, so I can't look straight across.
So the property on these 3 properties here, can they see each other? So if you can see, so Lauren, I'm asking you, you can see, that you look at these properties here, they see each other.
Yeah.
So what's the difference of them seeing each other versus down here?
Well, has to do with how old it is.
Oh, right.
You know, if this was, if it was 4 or 5 feet less, I would have less questions.
and I wish it was 4 or 5 feet less because it's more expensive to make.
And if
what it is,
If it, at the end of the day, if it was only 17 foot tall, he'd be building it, and we wouldn't even.
Yeah, you would be.
Right. So that's what I said, like the structure before, and he could build any structure.
I understand.
Yeah.
You know, and the other question I had was, how tall is your house going to be? Because you can barely see it from the road on Duke.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to drive way in there to see that.
Yes.
Okay, so number 2, recap, we're gonna go back to undesirable change be producing character and input or detriment to nearby properties. We're saying no.
Yeah.
Okay, due to the reasoning Leclerc said.
And the other reasons that.
Yeah, and the other reasons have been put forth of. Yeah. Sorry.
Secretary has them.
Thank you. Well, all right, question 3, whether the request variance is substantial, yes or no?
Likewise, yes.
No,
You're saying no?
Likewise, yes.
not in a wooded area.
Well, comparatively speaking.
It's also,
If it was another house, you wouldn't have that either.
no,
So Claire, you're saying no, you're saying yes?
I was just thinking, is it substantial, in fact, that it's 11 feet over the normal, but in Claire's explanation, that makes sense.
One,
I mean, they know that it's going to be 28 feet, even though it says 30 inches,
Yeah.
28 feet, 10 inches. So they know that. So I guess if they had a concern of looking out, like this is enormous or whatever, but I don't see that here. I think they're trying to be accommodating and Mr. Porter is trying to be accommodating. As far as planting trees towards Cahill, you know, oak trees to take a long time to grow. I mean, that's not your intent.
okay, so you're saying no?
Yes.
That it is
I'm saying
not substantial.
Not substantial.
Right.
Okay. Would the variance have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood?
No.
No.
Can you expound on that? Why no? Kind of same as number two.
Yeah. Yeah,
Similar answers to number two.
okay. Whether the alleged difficulty was self-created? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, because he did not go with it. So, okay. So, there is an agreement, there is no significant impact on the environment, therefore I propose a type 2 section of seeker and no further review is required. Based on our discussions, would someone make a motion to grant or deny an area variance for this applicant? Did I say that right? Yeah, that's something, yeah. So, the ZBA, after taking consideration the above 5 factors, finds the benefit to the application does outweigh, the applicant does outweigh the detriment to the neighborhood or community. Okay. Based on our discussions, would someone make a motion to grant or deny an area variance for this applicant?
I'd like to make a motion to the zoning board grant an area variance to Michael Porter for the real property located at 5015 Dugan Road, Manlius, 13104, tax map 104.-202 rather, -32.1. Variance is granted for the purpose of permitting the construction of a sports barn
Of the dimensions presented to the,
56 by 80.
yeah.
56 by 80.
And the exact location is shown on the
On
survey.
the survey, the exact location, right, on the survey.
And the materials that have been presented to the board.
And with the materials that have been presented to the board.
To clarify that, we had what color siding was it? I'm not as concerned.
I believe we're going to do white to finish the house. That's the plan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that, I just don't want it to, like, he's like, I'm gonna go beige, and then I'm like.
So the color to match the house?
Can we do that? Is that more appropriate, something to match the home?
I'm sorry to interject, but I don't feel he should be limited in the color. I mean, but I could.
Seems like one would stand out more.
But we ask that of people that have houses that everybody sees.
Yeah. I mean, I hadn't really picked the color.
Yeah, that's
I think that's his wife's fault.
Well, is there a color that would be offensive, I guess, to the board? I mean, this is the thing, right, is when you're giving a variance, you can put conditions. There's only one condition left, and that's, we have the structure, we have the size, because he's presented it, and the color, I think you need to say something about the color. I'm not an architect, so I don't know what words to use. Give me something to say.
And it did say gray metal roof.
It was.
Okay.
I mean, I was also thinking perhaps black metal roof or a dark gray. Again, the whole point is to tuck it in over there and not, and put it where I did so that anyone coming down the driveway doesn't see it. It's tucked back over to the side. So I too have a desire to have it
We
be a
could say that,
inconspicuous.
how about this, a color that will match the home or is otherwise of a natural color.
Fine, that's,
I mean,
Because it's a very traditional style home, it's really a
Right.
traditional colonial home.
right, I know there's no intent, but next thing you know, it's like,
If he comes back as a blue or red roof, I'll bring it up to the board's attention, but otherwise, otherwise, I think we're okay. I just wanted that to be.
I'll stipulate to not having a blue or red
Red
roof.
roof.
or any of that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna say it doesn't need a condition, but if Warren wants to add that motion, I don't think necessarily needs to have a condition of it, as long, well, the condition of no blue or red roof. It's up to you.
I wouldn't have a problem with a gray or black roof, that roof, I think that would be acceptable. It's not like
Which is what 10%.
it's not like it's a white roof, which they're concerned about reflecting. And it does say here neutral tones. So.
I'm not.
So what's been presented?
I'll second the
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you all for your time, I appreciate it.
Thank you, all right. Okay, so on the agenda is other business. If you guys can stick around for this, or you may go.
You're supposed to stay.
You don't have.
Not unless you have a copy.
And thank you guys for participating and sticking around for a while.
Thank you all.
I know you. I'm sure your kids would enjoy it. Okay, other business. We're gonna go through, we do miss KP. And I know you gotta go soon, so we're just gonna go over something really fast. Carrie sent out this expectation sheet. You wanna take a look at this right now? This is what when someone turns in a packet, this is the step-by-step process of what to expect after they file their application. And how we are going to give notice when we show up, we show a badge. Warren did bring up the fact that if they did not give us, if they don't acknowledge the 24-hour notice or acknowledge our email or a phone call, then, delayed. Better, okay, we're changing this delay. Someone must give permission for the board to the property. Failure to respond to the request to visiting property result in the application being delayed.
Okay.
So we're changing that to delayed, that's where we'll pull it down.
But it's just a formalization of what we presented.
Correct.
October.
Yeah, and Warren, Warren had to put also is what if they wanna, I don't wanna give my number out, you're more than welcome from the office at any time to call. And also, I would do email, because you have a paper trail. And so that's just a step-by-step what we went through in the last meeting. And then also these packets are no longer going to be.
May I suggest that the ZBA can promulgate its own reasonable rules and that this be, that make a motion?
Oh,
to accept those as the ZBA.
I'll make this motion.
Who wants to second it?
I second it.
All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed?
Good call on that, Mark.
Thank you.
With the property owner, well, with them not responding to you.
Yeah, right? Like, right.
If you call and then they don't respond.
Well, and that's the email trail is, so you have that backup, that documentation, so let's go into the email. Please make sure you're checking emails and reading that stuff.
And if you don't carry,
I will text you, check your email. So I have to condition myself.
I like the big color maps though.
So you do, so these are not gonna be filled out anymore, but if you want a copy, let Carrie know and she will make them for you. Yeah,
Okay, we just have to come in for it at this point.
I offered that.
Okay.
yeah, so so Warren and Claire, do you need? I can print that work too for you. Yeah, I know. So,
It's a lot clearer to have, especially surveys and things, to have in hand when you visit the property, rather than trying to look at it on a laptop or.
yes, and also, I do wanna say with this, If we don't, that's why we have the town of Manlius emails. If we use our personal, it's spoilable, correct? So that's why it's very important to use the town of Manlius.
Warren, I will, once I have the packet ready, I'll call you.
Just so you know.
Okay. And let you know it's ready and I'll leave it. If I'm not here, somebody in the office will do it.
Oh, Steve, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Oh, you gotta hit those other two for the organizational meeting. The motion to approve me and then the meeting schedule for next
I will make the
week.
motion for Carrie.
You make the motion to approve Carrie to be our secretary?
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And what was the other one we need?
I motion that we accept the meeting schedule as presented on the screen.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Now you can do the
I make a
motion.
motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?